If you're planning on making a move to the Atlanta area here in the spring or summer months of 2024, you may be wondering what's going on in the Atlanta real estate market, and I am here to provide you a brief report of what's been happening over the last couple of months and what to kind of expect over the summer months here in the Atlanta area. So stay tuned. We're going to talk all about Atlanta real estate right now. Hey everyone, my name is Molly and welcome back to my channel where I talk all things here in the Atlanta real estate market. And today we're going to talk about what's been happening in the real estate market, and we're going to jump right into it. So, if you watch my winter market update, I had kind of said in that video that we were in that seasonal pattern of in the winter months where you could start getting a little bit more deals, be able to negotiate with the seller a little bit more, maybe get some closing costs paid for or a reduction in the sales price. And homes were sitting on the market a little bit longer. Everyone was enjoying the holidays. Well, that ship has kind of sailed, and now we are already getting into that spring market. I feel like spring here in Atlanta sprung really early, like mid-January into February. And I will say though that the market is still a little spotty too. There are some homes that sell really, really fast, and other homes that you would think sell fast actually sit on the market a little bit. So it's been an interesting market to watch, and I think it really just kind of depends on where the home is and how fast it's going to sell. So let's talk about a little bit of stats so you can kind of just see some factual numbers and data, and then we'll go from there. So one thing I like to look at is where are inventory levels at? How much supply of inventory do we have? And in the real estate world, we measure a balanced market at 6 months of inventory, meaning it would take 6 months to sell all the homes that are currently on the market. We have not seen that in quite a long time. I mean, we're talking years and years and years, but we are starting to see a little uptick, the smallest uptick ever, but it is something. We are seeing a little bit more inventory hit the market, so that is kind of refreshing because we have been in such a tight inventory market, really not a lot to choose from, so we'll take anything we can get. So currently in the greater metro Atlanta area, I'm just going to look at the metro as a whole. I mean, I could drill down to each neighborhood and suburb, and the numbers might be a little bit different, but I can't obviously do that in this video, so I'm just going to talk about the greater metro Atlanta area as a whole. But we have seen that the supply of inventory in Atlanta has increased a little bit. It went up 36% year over year. We're at 2.6 months of supply. And the last time we hit that was actually just in October, November of 2023. But before that, the last time we saw 2.6 months of inventory, it was back in May of 2020. So we've definitely been needing some supply. And while I will say that we have seen some more supply hit the market, it's not all great. There are certain areas that I work a lot in, and I'm still not seeing a ton of homes come on the market, or the ones that are coming on are not quite ideal for what a lot of the average typical buyer is looking for. So still, I would say good inventory that's move-in ready, has the ideal floor plan, great location, all of that kind of stuff. It's still pretty difficult here in the Atlanta area. Now, the next question you may ask yourself is, well, how fast are homes moving? Well, like a cyclical real estate market, in January, homes were sitting on the market for a median of 27 days, and it went down to 20 days. And now here at the end of March, we're down to 15 days. So definitely the market is heating up. I would say I felt like after the Super Bowl was over, people were like jumping onto the scene, and buyers were out shopping for homes, and we were seeing a lot of multiple offers. So homes are definitely moving a lot quicker. So if you're thinking about buying, you do need to be ready. Let me dive a little bit more into some detail here. If we look at different price points and how fast homes are selling in those price points, it's kind of interesting to see. So you'll see that homes under 500,000, they went from, let's say in February, 20 days down to 17 days. So not a huge change, but a little bit quicker. But then if we jump from the 500 to the $1 million range, we're seeing homes sit from 19 days on the market down to 9 days at the end of March for those homes in the 500 to the $1 million price range. Similar story for the homes in the $1 million to $2 million range. We're seeing in February, homes sat on the market for 30 days, and then in March, it went down to 9 days. So this just tells me we have a lot of buyers shopping in that $500 to $2 million range. It doesn't matter which price range you're shopping in. There are buyers in all of these different price ranges, all looking for probably a similar type of home. Now, where homes are sitting a little bit longer on the market is that $2 million plus range, where it's kind of been up and down. So they were really sitting on the market there in January at a median of 72 days. And then it swung down in February down to 28 days. And then we saw a little uptick. I do see a lot of this where, those higher price points, they are sitting a little bit longer. It's just taking the right buyer. And I'm sure they're, when you're spending $2 million plus, I think you're going to be a little bit picky on which home you purchase. Now, you noticed in the charts how those homes that are 500,000 and below, those sat on the market a little bit longer than those homes that were priced in the $500 to $2 million price range. And here, at least in the city of Atlanta, where homes are 500 and below, it's really hard to find them, to be honest. You're going to be looking in much more transitional areas. The home may not be in the best shape, and typically these homes are really small square footage, so they're not going to be a perfect match for every buyer out there. So those tend to sit a little bit longer. Now, can you still find a deal here in the Atlanta area? Well, yes, there's always going to be a deal somewhere, but I would say for the most part, those days are over for right now. November, December, January were the months where you really could negotiate a deal. In fact, we saw on average the sales price to list price was around 96 to 98%. So that says that you were able to get a couple percentage points off of the list price. But now we're creeping back up to that 98% range on average. But if we drill down again by price points, that's going to give you even a better story here for single family homes. Let's look at, if you're finding a home that's priced under $500K, as of March, selling at about 99% of the sales price. And when we look at homes at 500,000 to $1 million, that is selling right at 100%. So no negotiations happening there. And then from that $1 million to $2 million price point, again, maybe just a hair, we're at 99.7%. So I'd say basically full ask. Now, where you might be able to still negotiate a little bit is in that uber luxury market at 2 million plus. There we saw sales to list price around 97%. So there is a little bit more negotiation room in that luxury market price range. Now, I want to touch briefly on the condo market because I've been working with a lot of condo buyers. I have a lot more people asking me about condos, so I thought I'd talk about it just briefly. And I'm just going to look at condo numbers here in the Midtown area because that's where a lot of condo buildings are. I compared it to Buckhead's condo sales and data, and pretty much they're a mirror image of each other. So I'm just going to stick with condos in Midtown, which that will kind of explain the story for the Buckhead area as well. But condos, great news. There has been a huge increase in inventory of condos. We've seen an over 60% increase year over year in the amount of condos. We're at a supply of 4.1 months. The last time we had that kind of level was back in December of 2020. So a lot more condos to choose from. I will say though, I've been looking at the condos, and while there are more condos out there, the ones that all look kind of generic and bland, those are going to sit a little bit longer. So if you are a condo owner, do a little something to make your condo stand out. Maybe you need to replace the tile or put a new backsplash in your kitchen or change out the countertops or paint your kitchen cabinets. That's really going to set you apart from all of the other condos that really haven't been updated. The updated ones are definitely selling a little bit faster. Now, starting the year out on condo sales, they were sitting on the market for a while. Median days on market was 39 days starting in January, but then all of a sudden it went full gangbusters, and by March it was sitting only on the market for 19 days. And I can vouch for this because I had some clients I was working with, and we were looking at some condos that had been sitting on the market for 20, 30 days, and all of a sudden, as soon as we went to go look at them, they were going under contract. So I can personally relate to this data in this story because I definitely saw it firsthand. With all that said, I think the number one question I'm getting from clients currently me right now in this market is, Molly, how will I know if the home I'm looking at is going to get multiple offers? While I can never really predict that, there are some clues that you can hone in on. And let's just say you are looking at homes in the $700,000 price range. You've probably browsed everything out there, and then boom, one hits the market and it looks like the best $700,000 home you've seen over the past couple weeks, months, whatever that time span is. If that's the best $700,000 home you have seen, most likely there are going to be several other $700,000 buyers that are going to like it as well. Home shopping here in the Atlanta area, especially in the city, can be very, very tricky. There's always a catch with a lot of these homes. And those of you that have worked with me, we've been out looking at homes, and there's always a catch. Like, the home can look great on the MLS, on paper, and then you get there and you're like, oh, okay, the layout's weird. Or the neighbor is weird, or there's a power line, or there's train tracks, or it's on a very busy road. So there's a lot of catches with Atlanta, especially like the topography. Atlanta is a very hilly area, and a lot of homes will have like a sloping backyard, and that's not going to be ideal for someone with 2 young kids that they want to put up a swing set on. They can't really do that. So a lot of homes have catches, and they will generally price their home accordingly, hopefully. So if you see a home where, man, that price looks too good to be true, there's probably a catch. So what can you expect here in the Atlanta real estate market going into the spring and summer months? Well, I'm guessing that it's going to be busy. I think there's a lot of buyers coming out and looking. There's more sellers getting their homes listed, which is great. So there's going to be, just kind of like we see every spring, that the burst of demand. I mean, we generally see the prices peak usually in that May to June timeframe. That's where you're going to pay the highest price. But hey, you're going to have the most options during that time to choose from. Now, there's a big talk about the interest rate. That's been so volatile lately. I thought the interest rate was going to drop sooner, and the Fed has kind of put that off. Now they're all talking about, dropping the federal funds rate 3 times later in this year. So I don't expect interest rates to go down to 5.0, you guys. So and I cannot predict the interest rate. The reports I've been seeing, there's different predictions out there. Some say, all of them are kind of basically saying low 6s. So that's kind of, what I'm reading and seeing in the news. So if you're hoping for like a 5.5% interest rate, I think you might be dreaming a little bit. So, but as these interest rates drop, which I saw them drop kind of in the beginning of January, for just a small amount of time, they went from like the high 6s down to the 6.5 range, and I saw kind of an uptick of activity. So I think if this happens again, we're going to see more people enter that market. So it may get even more tough for you as a buyer out there, especially on the homes that are move-in ready, have that desirable layout and location. So if you're going to the spring market and you want to sell your home, sellers, even though, it is a hot market and there are a lot of buyers out there, buyers are being really picky. I think we've all been watching way too much HGTV and expect homes to be 100% perfect. So I am seeing homes that, if they're not in tip-top shape, they sit a little bit. So get your home ready, spend that time to get any kind of minor repairs done, do some pressure washing, paint those walls, especially if it's got like that old 2020 beige. You need to paint them white, okay? White is in. That's what I did with my previous listing here in January. We painted all the walls white. White will sell. I'm telling you right now, it just looks fresh and modern. So there's different things you can do to prep your home. You can always reach out to me as well, and we can talk about some strategies of listing your home. And for buyers, you need to be prepared. So, make sure you reach out to me, shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. We can talk about your future home purchase and your strategy around that. But you need to talk to a lender if you plan to finance. I would strongly suggest that you get fully underwritten with that lender. That makes you more competitive with a cash buyer because you can waive your financing contingency. You can close quicker because really all of that underwriter needs from you is a house address and an appraisal report. So that is one step that you can do to be more competitive in the market. You also need to be ready to jump and go look at a home when it hits the market if it is something good. If a home lists on a Tuesday, you cannot wait until the weekend to see it. You need to go and see it within probably 24 hours at the most and decide if you want to move further on it. Side note, here in Atlanta, a lot of real estate agents like to list their homes on Thursdays because that gives everyone the weekend to look at the home, and they usually will call for a highest and best. Not always, so don't always depend on that. I always say put your best foot forward first, because you never know if a seller is going to call for a highest and best, or just take a great offer that they receive up front. So if you're looking and watching the market, you'll notice that there's a lot of new listings that hit the market on Thursdays, and that's all a real estate strategy that we do here in Atlanta, and I'm sure in a lot of other cities across the nation as well. Well, all right, you guys, that is my spring market report for you. I hope this was helpful for you. It's the busy time of the year for real estate agents, a lot of buyers coming out, but a lot of sellers also listing their home. Everyone's making moves. It's a busy time, but reach out to me. I always have time for you to talk about your future move. Shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. Would love to hear from you and talk about your future house hunt here in Atlanta. Okay, you guys, until next time, if you see me out in the wild, make sure you say hello. And until we talk again, I'll see you around the neighborhood.